Is it true? Is it true that the Chicago Bulls have gotten a early offseason present? Is it true that after the Chicago Bulls had perhaps one of their worst losses of the season to the Orlando Magic, one in which we had our big man only give us 8 points and 5 rebounds, that our head coach is in fact leaving for the University of Kentucky? Have we seen the end of Billy Donovan? In today's episode, we are going to talk about this very report that has come out that Billy Donovan is a favorite for the University of Kentucky job. So this is Rico Greenhowe. I'm your host, and this is Bulls Digest. And before we jump into it, guys, I want to let you know that 74.5% of you that watch the videos are not subscribers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest news and happenings of your Chicago Bulls. And so with that being said, guys, let's jump into this story. And this is broken here by a couple of ESPN reporters. This has appeared on Clutch Sports, and this is pretty much out there everywhere now, that Billy Donovan is in fact possibly a favorite here to replace John Calipari. It looks like the dominoes have kind of fallen from the coaching ranks. You see Eric Musselman has moved on from Arkansas to USC. We've seen John Calipari, who is sliding into Arkansas. That leaves Kentucky now as an open job opportunity, and Billy Donovan is the favorite. I know a lot of us here have thought that perhaps Billy Donovan might need to leave the Chicago Bulls, especially again after last night's unfortunate loss, where we had, in my opinion, a lack of energy, just a lack of urgency. A lot of people felt that, Billy Donovan doesn't possibly put our players in the best situations here. So this is an interesting report, and we're going to break this down. And we're also going to talk about, in my opinion, some of the coaches that possibly could go ahead and step in right now for the Chicago Bulls for next season and perhaps can get us back to our winning ways. So this is Bulls Billy Donovan linked to Kentucky basketball job after John Calipari's exit. And this is what this article had to say. Donovan was an assistant coach under Rick Pitino at Kentucky from 1989 to 1993 and eventually won national championships at Florida in 2006 and 2007. Right around the time Kentucky reportedly pursued him to replace Tubby Smith, Donovan has been in the NBA since 2015, currently has the Bulls in a play-in tournament, writes Jeff Borzillo of ESPN. While Donovan is one of the best ever to coach in the college basketball ranks, success has been hard to come by for the former Florida Gators head coach. Chicago made the playoffs just once in his first 3 seasons under Donovan. The Bulls will have something to play beyond the regular season this year, but will likely have to go through the play-in tournament. Either way, the Bulls are not expected to go deep in the postseason if they clinched a playoff berth, especially with Zach Lavine sidelined and the scary compositions of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Going back to Donovan, if the Wildcats end up hiring the current Bulls bench boss, they would be getting someone who has won 2 national titles in back-to-back fashion with the Gators in 2006 and 2007. He also led the Gators to a Final Four appearance a total of 4 times and steered Florida to 4 SEC tournament titles. Donovan's college resume speaks for itself. All right, guys. So look, there is a lot to unpack in this article. And so look, Billy Donovan, obviously he has history with the Kentucky Wildcats. You're seeing that he was an assistant under Rick Pitino. He also played under Rick Pitino at Providence before he went on to eventually take a job at Marshall. He coached Jason Williams, and then the success goes on and on and on with what he was able to do at Florida. But the key point here is that out of all these facts in the article here, the one thing that has really kind of caught my eye is that Kentucky has been relatively quiet since Coach Calipari has left, which leads me to believe that Kentucky is maybe perhaps twiddling its thumb and they are waiting for perhaps Billy Donovan to be free here after the season is up. I mean, with the NIL deals that are out there right now, it sounds like this possibly could be a likely fit. And I know Billy Donovan, he says that he wants to be here for the long haul. I get it. But the one thing that I will say about Billy Donovan, who I really like him, and I know he gets a lot of heat here in the comments on the channel. I get it. And especially after I led with the sense of urgency that we didn't have yesterday and the energy, a lot of people pointed to the fact that they felt that it was Billy Donovan's fault. He didn't play the right lineups. He didn't go out there and definitely have these guys ready to play at certain moments. And I mean, you could possibly argue that. I mean, a lot of times in sports, generally what happens is if the coach is usually the fall guy. And I mean, at this point in time, there's a lot of articles out there saying that perhaps the Chicago Bulls need another voice. But this is what I will say about Billy Donovan and his tenure. Before we go ahead and we're quick to go get rid of Billy Donovan, let me put an interesting fact out there for us, all right? So since we fired Tom Thibodeau 9 seasons ago, we have only had 2 winning seasons. One of those seasons, we actually were 42-40 and we missed the playoffs. Okay, so before we go into Billy Donovan and it's his fault and everything else, once again, I think this ultimately points back to management as well. All right, we have to look at the fact that we went after Fred Hoiberg after Thibodeau. Then we went after, obviously Billy Donovan. He's one of the coaches that has gone through here. So, Chicago has been a bit of a revolving door from a coaching standpoint. There's only 2 successful coaches that I know in Chicago history, in my opinion, and that's going to be Phil Jackson. Obviously, he's the most decorated there, and Doug Collins, right? And Doug Collins was a successful coach before Phil Jackson here. So, look, that leads me into the next part of this video. If we're going to get rid of Billy Donovan, fine. We're saying that was one of the things that we might need to address. I'll give you that. All right. Aside from the fact that who knows what's going to go on with DeMar DeRozan? Who knows what's going to go on with Zach Lavine? Who knows if we're even bringing back Patrick Williams? I don't know. Who knows? All right. But if this is the first domino to fall, who is the coach that we can get into our organization that can actually get us moving in the right direction and get us back to winning basketball? There's 2 coaches that come to mind. All right. So let me bring that up. Who would replace Donovan? All right. So the 2 coaches on the list that I'm thinking right now that have NBA experience for us, one, it's going to be Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, in my opinion, was the architect of the Golden State Warriors. All right. One of the pushbacks on this channel and one of the issues that we majorly have is that we are a small team. Fine. I get that. Can we go out there and can we get some height? Sure, we can get some height in free agency. We could possibly go out there and use Adam Sunoco, a guy who is the Big East rebounding champion and Big East player of the year. I get it. If we're going to lose Drummond, that's fine. I saw that too as well. We could possibly use that small ball lineup with some bigs that don't necessarily stretch the floor, but possibly are rim running bigs like what Golden State had with Kevon Looney, right? With what they had with Jordan Bell. Mark Jackson would be able to take this roster, possibly go out there, utilize draft picks that we have, right? He's proven that he can even get pieces deep in the draft, a la Draymond Green, right? And he can go get pieces that can win right now. So we're going to go with this small ball lineup and we're going to go ahead and take this thing to the next level. And we want to get a guy that has won with small ball lineups. Mark Jackson would for sure fill that void. All right. The next coach that I'm going to throw out there is going to be Coach Bud. I think that Coach Bud is a perfect coach for us. Here's a guy that coached for the Milwaukee Bucks, which is not too far from Chicago. It's a bus ride away. Here is a guy that has been in the Eastern Conference. Here's a guy that has been in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a guy that is an NBA championship coach. This is a guy that for sure could come in right now and they could both, in my opinion, between Mark Jackson and Coach Bud, give us the discipline that we need, the winning habits that we need to possibly turn this thing around. And one more thing that I want to leave you guys with is this. For as many college coaches that have stepped up into the NBA ranks, right, and attempted to go take the reins of an NBA coaching job, including Coach Musselman. All right. Azul is a great coach, right? That's a coach that actually, if you follow your basketball history, he used to coach the Golden State Warriors. Okay. There has only been one coach that has been able to come from the NCAA rankings, win a title there, and then win a championship. That one coach is Larry Brown. That's how difficult it is to come from the college ranks to the NBA ranks and win. So for all us Chicago Bulls fans that say that it's Billy Donovan's fault, let's keep that in mind. We've only had 2 winning seasons since firing Tibbs, and there has been no college coach other than Larry Brown that has been that successful in the NBA. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Has Billy Donovan's bags been packed? Are they already sitting at the University of Kentucky? Do you guys agree that we should just go ahead and part ways with Billy Donovan? Is he the reason why we're in a flux right now and we can't get any consistency? Is Mark Jackson or Coach Bud a coach that you would like to see on our sidelines? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is Rico Greenhowe. This is another episode of Bulls Digest. And even though I roasted my head coach, I still love him. Let's go Bulls. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.